All right, it's the Pop Tower Podcast. I'm Peter W. Dawson.
I'm James Bullock.
And we're here to talk about television and movies. No video games today, but I think we'll make up for it pretty quick. And how you doing today, James?
You know what, Peter? I have to tell you right now, I am feeling genuinely electric.
Sounds like a whale of a tale, James.
Have we been traveling through space and time recently?
All I know is reality's kind of effed up.
But at least our soul is still intact.
Oh, snap. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a couple of different superhero tales. We got one from the small screen, one from the big screen, and appropriately enough, one's DC, one's Marvel, so we covered both of the big two. So let's start by talking about Black Lightning. So Black Lightning is a DC comic.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick, Peter. You didn't say it right.
All right, say it for me.
You got to say it in your blaxploitation voice.
I don't really have one, and I'm worried if I try to do one right now, it's going to sound racist.
Okay. You got to say Black Lightning. You got to say it with some Black Lightning.
Thank you. You know I'm too white to pull that off. I think we firmly established I'm like a mayonnaise sandwich. Anyway, jokes about my Caucasian identity aside, so Black Lightning is a DC Comics property that started, the television adaptation started airing on CW just this year in 2018. And it follows Jefferson Pierce, who is actually a retired superhero. He, like, several years ago, he used to be the hero Black Lightning. And he's also a high school principal in the town of Freeland.
A high school principal that everyone loves.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't think I can relate to this because our principals were just sort of accepted and were bland.
Right. They were just there. You know, they were figureheads. That was it.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're this person in a suit, or if you're a woman, a pantsuit.
Right.
Basically, the only change with the gender was whether or not they wore a tie. At least that was my experience.
That was so true. That is really true.
Yeah, I don't even think they ever wore skirt suits. It was always pantsuits.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, but so in this case, Jefferson Pierce, he's a teacher that everyone loves, principal that everyone loves. But yeah, he used to be a superhero because he's got electric powers, and his former superhero alias Black Lightning. But he ends up having to start fighting crime once more after his daughters get kidnapped, and this sort of leads to a revitalization of him being a hero, as well as, you know, a greater public interest in heroing again, as well as the arrival of a mysterious new, kind of a cultish gang. Like,
the 100.
Yeah, they're probably more gang than cult, but I always kind of got a cult vibe from them.
Yeah, it's been weird because there's certain aspects of the show where we got that supernatural feel from it.
Yeah, like they're, you know, I don't, they're more sophisticated than like a street gang, but they've still got the street gang element to them. But then they've also got the weird supernatural. Like it's very much a layer of like all different kinds of crime families. But
I'm not even joking. When the supernatural stuff kicked in, I was so surprised because it just felt so odd.
Yeah. It's like they got several different lines into all kinds of stuff around the world, and it's just like, all right, this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, and Cress Williams plays Principal Jefferson Pierce, a.k.a. Black Lightning. There, that's my best attempt.
There you go.
That was my attempt. I had to do it eventually.
Hey, no, that was great. No, I can't take it away from you. That was great.
All right. Someone else will take it away from me. So during the course of the series, he comes into conflict with the 100, and most notably Tobias Whale, fantastic name, played by Marvin Crondon James III, who I want to note, the character of Tobias Whale was meant to be an albino African American who was supposed to have like a Kingpin like appearance from like the Marvel comics, you know, like the big blubbery man,
right?
You know, the surname Whale was absolutely on the nose. But they did find, because Marvin Jones III is also an albino African American. So they actually found an albino African American who's pretty decent at acting.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because he's the type of guy that not only looks intimidating but comes across as very intimidating, and it's very ironic that his character actually has a little bit of depth that you find out later on in the series. That as an actor he pulls off okay. I mean, it's like if he was a more veteran actor, he probably could do a better job at it. But then there's like certain instances that are kind of absurd, like him shooting a harpoon gun that he pulled out from his desk.
Yeah.
That felt incredibly natural, which is crazy when you think about it.
I know. It's great too because like this character is so clearly like he's like, oh, okay, so he's a white whale and he's got like the Captain Ahab beard, and then he pulls out the freaking spear gun. It's like, I see what you're doing with this character. But honestly, he works pretty well. Like, he's not as good as the obvious comparison, which would be Kingpin from the Marvel Netflix Daredevil. But
and even then, he doesn't have as much time on screen as like a Kingpin character does.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough time. He's a less experienced actor, but I mean, no knock against the guy. He works very well.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so he's the main antagonist. Like, he's not in charge of the 100, although obviously he's still pretty important, and I don't want to get into more details with what happens with all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then we have one of the big things that kind of really makes Black Lightning stand out is just the fact that he's got a family.
Right, that's the big deal. Yeah,
he's got an ex-wife and 2 kids.
Mm-hmm. And not only 2 kids, but 2 kids that are old enough to really know about his life, and it's been pretty much a secret to them their entire lives.
Well, yeah, because the older daughter, Anissa, she's actually like in her 20s, right?
Yeah, she's actually working at the school with her father.
Yeah, she's not a student because she's like in medical school when she's not working at the school. So I guess that's kind of like her part-time job. It's like, I'll just work with my dad when I'm not going through medical school. That won't be exhausting.
Exhausting.
Look, I have never gone through medical school. I know people have gone through medical school. The fact that this girl can, like, not only go through medical school, have a part-time job at a high school, and find time to discover her sexuality.
Yeah, and tries to maintain a relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, a big arc she has in the first season is she kind of comes to terms with being a lesbian.
Yeah, which came out of nowhere for me as well. Like, and the way they did it was very fitting. It was a big deal. It was just one of those things that she's a lesbian. That's just what she is. There's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like they didn't try to make a big story out of it, but at the same time, it's definitely a thing, and they definitely explore it, which kind of results in her. I'd say it's a pretty positive portrayal because she's not that whiny.
I have no complaints whatsoever. No, not at all.
Because the younger daughter's kind of whiny. Because I mean, she's the one actually in high school still, and then she's like both super smart and super athletic. So she's like, anytime her dad kind of gives her any sass, it's like she kind of whines. And well, she is on paper a pretty perfect child.
Right.
Because the older one's Anissa and the younger one's Jennifer. Yeah, the younger one, Jennifer.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Bit of a brat, but, she's not unsympathetic.
I think it's like more of teenage... I think it's like more of teenage brat. Like, I'm trying to find myself, and things that I might do might go against my parents' wishes, but it's just something I have to do kind of writing. Whereas, she's not like, oh, she's so annoying, I can't stand her when she's on television kind of bratty.
Yeah, she's not as annoying as some other teenage daughters I can think of from shows that are actually still on the air. And I think they've gotten better, but I remember hating those teenage characters when I first saw them. The daughter from the TV show Mom. Like Anna Faris's daughter on that show. I hate it. I don't know if she's gotten better because I don't really watch that show, but I remember hating her in the first season. So that's kind of the big thing. And of course his ex-wife is still a character who keeps showing up because she's also... she's a neurosurgeon or a neuroscientist or something like that?
She's a neuroscientist.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember which it was. But yeah, she's still around, and, she's the ex-wife. But, so there's a lot of drama there, as you can imagine. And the character
there's love still there, but once she finds out Black Lightning is back, it's just, it doesn't go well at all.
No, because, she's one of the main reasons he stopped. I mean, it wasn't just her, obviously. Like, it was a legitimate concern for his children, which is fair enough. It's not just like, I don't want you being a hero. Stop being a hero. It's like, you can't be a hero anymore for the sake of your kids. And I'm like, that's a bit of a better argument. I mean, you can still concern for your loved one, but it's hard to do just, look, it's just you and me. We don't have any kids or anything. It's just like, you need to stop for my sake. And it's like, that can come off a little selfish, but once you have multiple children and a full family...
And one of the biggest reasons I could say there's a good chance that maybe people will find out about you is because of his outfit.
Yeah, right. We need to talk about his outfit. It's not a bad outfit, like, in general.
It's not a bad outfit from the neck down.
This is what I'm saying, yeah. Because, like, the problem is the goggles, they do nothing.
It's from the neck out. It's from the neck up that everything goes wrong.
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
Jefferson Pierce, the high school principal that is world renowned apparently, at least in his city, wears an outfit as a superhero where the only difference between him and Black Lightning is a pair of goggles. Like, literally, they're just goggles.
They're not even good goggles. Sunglasses might be more effective.
And there are times where because they actually have, like, tint. If you notice, like, sometimes it has tinted lenses, and then sometimes they don't, depending on what he's doing. And there are, like, times he's confronting people without the tint, and they have no idea it's him for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Black Lightning is easily identifiable as Jefferson Pierce, and somehow, some way, he gets away with it. It's this old Superman thing. It's a DC thing, I guess.
Yeah, but this is even less effective than that. I mean, it's a whole change. In this case, it's like, badass lovable principal becomes badass lovable superhero. It's not even like Clark Kent where he goes from Superman, beyond human to Clark Kent. Well, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, mild mannered.
Yeah, he's mild mannered.
He doesn't come across as a guy that will win a street fight. He really doesn't.
No, I mean, he looks like he might be able to hold his own, but you wouldn't discover him secretly being in a fight club.
Right.
Like, he just seems like he's a bit of a big dork.
Man.
Like, you can't deny he's still... Sorry?
That image of, like, Superman in a fight club. Like, Clark Kent in a fight club. Like, all of a sudden he rips off his shirt like Kiryu and Yakuza. He's got, like, tattoos and everything.
It would be a Superman logo on his chest. It would just be a tattoo now. But what would he have on his back? Batman logo?
No, Lois Lane is like a Geshi Lois Lane.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But back to Black Lightning. That was a fun aside, though. We got to leave that in.
Yeah.
It's just, the other character. I hate to talk about this because it's James Remar playing Peter Gamby.
Mm-hmm.
Who's his tailor. Wink, wink.
The tailor.
Now, I like that he's Black Lightning's confidant from the get-go. Like, I want to praise that, because I love it when these heroes have confidants right away. Because this was something that Arrow didn't do when it got started, so it took him like 3 or 4 episodes to get really interesting, because he could talk to people about this, right? And, like, Flash, he could talk to people right away, it's just the people he talked to sucked. Legends of Tomorrow, there was nothing to hide. And then Supergirl, she's talked to people right away, so that worked. And now it's, Black Lightning. He talks to a guy. The problem is, Gamby's not very interesting.
No, he's genuinely conflicted all the time.
I know,
but it doesn't help his character whatsoever.
No, poor Remar. He's kind of stuck. Like, he can easily play a character with more range, but the character's so one note, despite being a main cast member.
Yeah. I did something in the past that I'm ashamed of, and that is all I am.
Yep. Yeah, he's just like, I gotta make up for it. Exactly.
That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect.
It's like Caitlyn in season 1 of Flash. My fiance is dead. My fiance is dead. My fiance is dead. We get it. You have a dead fiance. Or Cisco, it's like pop culture reference. Pop culture reference. We get it. You like to make pop culture references. Have a personality. Like what I'm saying
Well,
is all these
there's
shows.
hope. There's hope for his character in the second season. Though I'll give him that much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
They give a good, as bad as the character, as long as it took the character arc to get to its peak, it finally did at the very end of the season. So hopefully it'll actually have some improvement when it comes to this character coming into season 2.
yeah, yeah. So I think the show overall, the pilot wasn't bad.
You didn't care for Black Lightning's back being repeated over and over again as a song?
Oh, I didn't like that. Wait, we should talk about the soundtrack because
Soundtrack's awesome.
yeah, it's just the problem is the pilot doesn't really give you a good idea of that because it just keeps playing Black Lightning's back,
Yeah.
which is not it gets better. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, that's really it. It's a great soundtrack. Anything with James Brown's payback in it during the fight scene is a win in my book.
Well, that's a brilliant choice for a fight scene.
Yeah.
I don't even care who your hero is. It could be Charlize Theron kicking ass. I don't know what situation, but like I would still be like, yeah, play that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old James Brown.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Several years ago now.
I know. Who cares, man? Still.
Yeah.
We didn't have a show. We didn't have the show then, so now we're getting it in.
Exactly. But yeah, overall, I'd say Black Lightning's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great series. One of the biggest advantages to it compared to a lot of the other CW superhero shows is the fact that it's really a standalone show.
Yeah.
It's not really connected to the Arrowverse, so you can just jump in and experience it for what it is and not have to worry about like a whole bunch of deep connections of shows that you don't watch.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to worry about connections to Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, or The Flash, which is good because most of the shows are in kind of a slump right now.
Right.
I don't know. I've not heard anything good about any of those seasons, and what I have seen, I haven't been terribly excited with.
Right.
Let me put it that way. Although Crisis on Earth X was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Have to always mention that.
Can't deny that.
Yeah. So season 1 is now on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, Netflix, the CW streaming website. More than likely, what's DC Universe is going to be the name of the DC streamer.
Yeah, if it isn't like getting hijacked from, I think it's CW Seed, it should be on that too.
Yeah.
And there's only 13 episodes in this first season because it was a mid-season replacement.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of screwed up the schedule, but now CW is going to, I think, 6 nights a week instead of just 5.
Okay.
So they've actually got more space on their schedule. So I think they're actually trying to do a full week of superhero shows, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each one of them's got a superhero show.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like there's
I can see Black Lightning getting the full season next time. They definitely left a few things open that was perfectly set for a second season. So
yeah, I mean, either way, it was renewed. So I mean,
it
actually took a while to get renewed though. Like it premiered in February, it didn't get renewed until April when it was almost done.
Yeah, I was surprised because, like you said, it did take a while. I was expecting at least about maybe 3 or 4 episodes deep at the most before you got an announcement. It was almost the end of the season when they got the announcement.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of the least problematic shows to get into in terms of the DC shows, because, I mean, almost all of them have an issue with, like, their first season. Like, I mean, Arrow doesn't really get good until episode 13 or 14.
Right, this had, like, a Punisher problem where you just had, like, a weak pilot, and everything else got better after that.
I didn't even think the pilot was that weak. I just thought it was more just we got good progression with the daughters, we got good progression with everyone else, but we got like nothing with Remar.
Right, that's true.
I mean, like, yeah, Whale even goes places, and Whale gets pretty interesting. I don't know. But yeah, ultimately, do recommend Black Lightning. Check it out if you haven't done that yet.
Definitely.
Yeah, but moving on from one superhero to a whole horde of superheroes. Admittedly, some aren't heroes in the traditional sense. You could say they're morons.
Wow!
Hey, the movie said it. So we're talking about Avengers Infinity War. You know, a little movie that, as of this recording, has made $1.2 billion.
Yeah. If they wanted to add a tagline to Avengers Infinity War as a success story, it truly has to be they have kicked names and taken so much ass.
Yep. That is a quote from the movie, folks, in case you're wondering why he said that. So, for those who haven't been playing at home, the plot of Avengers Infinity War is that Thanos, the Mad Titan, one of the sole survivors of the planet Titan, which is not to be confused with Saturn's moon Titan, which is where he's originally from in the comics. We'll get to that. He is planning to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, put it on his gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet, if you will, and then with a snap of his fingers, erase half of life in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Infinity Stones are essentially remnants of the dawn of the universe, and there's 6 of them. You got the red Reality Stone, which is the ether from Thor: The Dark World. You got the blue Space Stone, which is the Tesseract from several movies now. Like it was in Captain America: First Avenger, it was in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, I definitely remember. Yeah, it was in the. Yeah, it was definitely the first Avengers movie in Captain America.
Yeah, because I mean, it was introduced in First Avenger, and then as well as Captain America, as well as the first Avengers movie. It gets confusing because it's Captain America: First Avenger.
The first Avenger and Captain America. Oh yeah, Captain America: The First Avenger and the first Avengers movie.
The thing that created Nazi death lasers, okay?
Yeah.
So that's what that is, and then we get the Power Stone from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We got the Mind Stone, which apparently was also in the first Avengers movie the whole time. We just didn't know.
Yeah, we never knew about it.
And it, of course, became much more of a factor in Age of Ultron.
Right.
Because it's currently inside Vision's head. And then we got the Space Stone from Doctor Strange. And the Soul Stone has not appeared yet until this film.
Right.
Not going to spoil what happens with that because it's
that was an incredible moment, too.
If you haven't gotten the film spoiled for you, let me just say your theory about where the stone is, you're probably wrong.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that, though, because I kind of want...
even better, the person who kind of bears the stone is an unexpected appearance as well.
Yeah, no, they did sneak a few surprise appearances in here. I mean, if you pay attention to the cast, even if you pay attention to the casting, you
might still be surprised who shows up.
Yeah, because there was a couple of surprises in there. Yeah, so as a result, Thanos, looking to do what he wants to do, has sent out his horde, the Black Order, or the Children of Thanos, basically the ones who aren't Nebula and Gamora from the Guardians of the Galaxy films, because supposedly they were also part of this. So he sends out Ebony Maw, Cull Obsidian, Proxima Midnight, and Corvus Glaive.
Yeah.
The last one's probably got the coolest name, and Cull Obsidian's probably the worst.
Do you realize how jealous WWE and Vince McMahon has to be right now with those names?
Well, especially with Corvus Glaive.
I know. That was the first one I thought about. I was like, yeah, that sounds like somebody here with a WWE NXT name.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Corvus Glaive is way cooler name than the character. Like, okay, the character was kind of cool, but I mean, he was fairly one note. I mean, all 4 of them are.
Yeah, really, they all had like that shining moments in one point of every battle.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah,
they're minions. What do you expect?
Yeah, Cull's the most boring because I don't think he ever talks.
Yeah.
He's just the big bruiser, but I mean, he can go toe-to-toe with pretty much any other big bruiser, so cool. Ebony Maw is probably the most developed because he's like the herald of Thanos, right?
Right. He's pretty much the prophet. He's the oh, you go on. I'm trying to think of the crier. The crier.
Yeah, the crier, the soothsayer. That, like I said, I like the herald for him. That's my personal favorite. And he's got telekinetic powers too, so he's also like kind of Thanos' wizard. Yeah,
that was the best part about it because we are thrust, not to spoil too much about the movie, but you are thrust really into the action early.
Oh yeah.
And seeing him actually look like a force very early in the movie was really good.
Well, yeah, that's the thing because I mean, he early on, without giving too much away, he encounters Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Hulk, Doctor Strange's assistant Wong, and then Spider-Man also shows up.
Yeah.
And while he does have Cull as backup, that's still like, well, he better be able to throw down because the Strange in particular is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, but so the minions for the most part are pretty forgettable, but they do their job.
Yeah, they're minions.
Yeah, like the biggest waste of space I think it was the fact that Proxima Midnight's voiced by Carrie Coon.
Mm-hmm.
and she's got like nothing to work with. It's even worse than
not at all.
it's even worse than when Colm Fiora was voicing Laufey, the ice giant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, what was the point of that? You could have just had anyone. Why waste Canadian legend Colm Fiora on such a great role? Or, sorry, such a terrible role, I should say. But I wanted to address, because we can't talk too much about spoilers, but we did explain Thanos' backstory. I just want to quickly touch. So, for anyone who was worried or hoping that Thanos was going to be motivated by his love for death itself, which is how it goes in the comics, like he's literally from Saturn's moon, Titan, and he's literally in love with the embodiment of death because he's like essentially this crazy nihilist. That isn't here.
No, not at all.
They, like I said, Titan's now its own planet, which is still called Titan, whatever. You know, it's fine. There's plenty of reasons it could still be called Titan. And then, rather than being in love with death, it's more... I don't want to give too much away because he kind of explains it in the movie, and it's pretty well done. Like Josh Brolin as Thanos.
One thing about it, I have to ask you, what did you think about the comparisons between Thanos' presentation in the trailers to Thanos in the actual movie?
He was way better in the actual movie.
Yeah, night and day.
Yep. I wouldn't say night and day, but it was like, if you were worried that Thanos wasn't going to look very good, well, first of all, he's definitely better than Steppenwolf from Justice League.
Oh my goodness, yes.
They just had more time with the CGI alone. I mean, that alone is, not
yeah,
to...
but at least he had a reason to exist this time. Like, Steppenwolf was like, okay, I have a goal, but I'm very passive about it.
Yeah.
Whereas with Thanos, he actually has a goal and has a reason behind it. And in reality, no pun intended, he's really the hero of the story.
Yeah, because he easily gets the most focus, which is good, because as the villain, like they've been building up to, he needs the focus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we still get plenty of character moments with the existing heroes, but some basically get nothing character-wise.
Yeah, and that's the problem, and that's something I think a lot of us expected, though, because, I mean, you have 19, but then up to that point, 18 movies worth of characters.
Yeah.
That you have to really kind of give screen time to in a various amount of ways, and just certain people are not going to get it.
I know, the one that bummed me out the most was Captain America, because Chris
Evans...
Oh,
my goodness.
Chris Evans as Captain America is one of my favorite... The reason I always get so defensive about First Avenger is just because they set up his character so well, especially just in the scene where he goes to the doctor and he's just like, I don't like bullies. Like, it's as simple as that. It's just this, in that one simple moment, they purposely encapsulated Captain America. Like, later on, you get the idea of, freedom and everything, but it just really comes back to that simple sentiment.
Right.
And, you can really see it with Chris Evans' performance through all these movies, and which is why I'm kind of frustrated he didn't get a lot to do. But, I mean, he's probably going to get more in the next one.
Yeah, of course. I really believe he's going to have a shining star in the next Avengers movie, which is already scheduled to come out next year anyway, so we're not spoiling anything there.
No, they were filmed back to back.
Right, but in comparison, really the main protagonist for this movie was Thor.
Yeah, with Iron Man as a close second.
With Iron Man as a close second, right beside Star-Lord. To me, it's like Iron Man and Star-Lord are number 2. Yep. And then Thor is really the main protagonist, which was, like I said, very weird because I really expected this to be the movie where Captain America kind of had a moment where he stepped out of Thor's shadow, because they've really been building up Thor as the guy when it comes to the Avengers lately. And unfortunately, like I said, Captain America didn't get much of a showcase in this one, which is surprising to me. In comparison to a guy that also didn't get that much of a showcase but really was able to steal the show a lot more, was Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, Spider-Man was amazing. And I found out a lot of his dialogue was improvised.
I just found out today that one of the best lines of the entire movie was improvised by Batista.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know, because the directors are experienced comedy directors, because for those who don't know, Anthony Russo and Joe Russo were probably most famous for doing episodes of Community and Arrested Development before they started doing movies. Right. And then somehow they got trusted with Captain America Winter Soldier, which ended up being one of the best Marvel movies up to that point.
Right.
And then it was like, well, yeah, these guys need to do all of the movies.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Let's give them the throne here. Let's let them run.
Yeah, The only thing that maybe might be their detriment is they don't feel quite as experimental as I kind of wish they could be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it feels like a superhero movie all the time. Like
Yeah.
every superhero movie feels like a superhero movie.
Yeah,
Like we got that boxes that we need to check, and they check them all.
Yeah, they do it very well, though. I mean, like...
Right? Oh no, not at all. Not a criticism on that note. I'm saying that they just do superhero movies for the sake of superhero movies, but there are times where it just feels like they don't go beyond.
Yeah, like...
And for example, I know it's still Marvel, but you think about like Fox. To me, you look at the differences between like X2, X-Men United, and X3,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see like, okay, they actually tried to do something a little bit more emotional with X2 and tried to go beyond just the realm of being a superhero movie, whereas 3 just went full-blown superhero, like, okay, we're going to do everything you can think of that would be involved in a superhero movie, and we got two totally different results.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's like, well, I mean, the one thing about Zack Snyder that I do like is that he tries to do things that you may not think of that are really interesting when he goes from, like, shot to shot.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that, if there's one thing I want to give the DC movies over the Marvel, it's that, one of their flagship directors is maybe a little more willing to experiment. The problem is he does a lot of other stuff, but I'm not here to kick a man while he's down.
Yeah, we've done that enough in previous podcasts.
I know, it's just it always comes back to this whenever we talk about a Marvel movie or a DC property. It's just and again, I'm still praising the man. I'm pointing out, yes, he's got good qualities. But back to Infinity War. Doctor Strange gets a fair bit to do. Spider-Man gets a fair bit to do. Hulk gets a fair bit to do. More specifically, Bruce Banner, because
Bruce Banner gets because Hulk is an petulant child in this movie.
Yeah, Gamora has a decent amount to do. Mm-hmm. Although, no surprise, in a franchise that's more men than women, the men get a lot more to do in general.
Yeah. There was a big moment, one of the later battles, where that kind of comes out into play with one of the characters, and you're wondering exactly why they're just sitting around watching while everybody else is fighting. It's actually called out after it happens.
Yep. And unfortunately, probably one of the besides Gamora and her relationship with Thanos, as well as Nebula and her relationship with Thanos, the other probably the biggest female role goes to Scarlet Witch with Elizabeth Olsen, mm-hmm. And it's all about how she's in love with Vision.
Yeah, that's
Which,
about it.
I kind of wish we could have gotten more of that, them actually hooking up on screen, but they just had the 2-year kind of jump between Civil War and now, so. Mm-hmm. And they had hinted at that quite a bit in the previous movies, so I'm not going to say it came out of nowhere.
Right? No, not at all.
But it's it's kind of one of those things. It's like, oh, well, it would have been nice if whatever. It is what it is. But anything else you want to touch on of the movie real quick? Or?
No, I just think it's a fantastic offering. It's one of those movies that it felt like it was almost impossible to live up to the hype, and yet it did.
Yeah, no, especially with, if it has any problems, it's because it's so wall-to-wall action.
Yeah, there's no breathing room. There really isn't. There's no time to catch your breath. No, not
There's
at all.
very little, and usually when it does, the comedy does come back in full force.
Right.
But there's still comedy moments in most of the action scenes, especially when they're just dealing with the fact that, Doctor Strange is a wizard. And then later on, Spider-Man shows up, and Tony Stark's like, kid, don't embarrass me in front of the wizard.
Right.
And, it's kind of a bummer that certain characters either get little screen time or don't even end up in the movie. There's a couple characters we were told were going to be in the movie that weren't in the movie.
Yeah.
And, more than a few characters going to get screwed. But, I mean, it still managed to stand, for example, Drax ultimately doesn't do that much in this movie.
No, he's a couple of quirks, and then that's really it,
Yeah, but it's, he still has some memorable bits. Ditto Mantis. Mantis managed to prove her use.
Yeah, which is amazing because I couldn't care less about Mantis in the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Wow, they didn't write her very well.
Yeah.
If there's one giant flaw with that movie, it's her. And it's not even this is bad character, it's just, she doesn't gel with that movie. It's a bigger narrative.
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, then you have characters like Loki that, for the little bit of time that they had, really did a great job.
Oh, absolutely. I've always loved Tom Hiddleston, and I just love that we got a really full arc with Loki as a
Yeah,
character.
very much so.
And you can like it's still hard to accept that he's kind of being forgiven for the people he's killed.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of started like with Ragnarok, like with that whole idea of Loki not being as bad of a guy as he came across in the first Thor movie.
I know, like, you know, if there's any problem, it's like this is always the problem. It's like he got people killed and he killed people. Like, should we forgive him? I mean, I've seen much worse examples. There's one I could probably tell you about after the audio, but after we record this, but I won't do that during this episode because we've gone enough on tangents and we're getting to time here.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I thought it was a great movie. It's one of the few movies that I've actually watched in a long time that I actually cursed at the screen when something happened that I didn't expect. So.
Oh right. Yeah, it was a full on mother F, right?
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this scene does provoke a reaction at certain points. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and it's one of those movies. Please make sure your friends know what's going on, so you don't have to explain it to them during the movie.
Yeah, because that's a very good point. Because this, as we said, this is the 19th movie in the MCU, and there's a lot to unpack and a lot to understand if you haven't followed it. So make sure they're a little bit up to speed on the way up there to the theater, or at least wiki it or something. You know, try to get some kind of information, find a YouTube video or something, because there are things that you will not get if you have not followed a majority of the MCU movies.
Yeah, like I had someone basically having the movie explained to them in the back behind me while I was watching.
Oh,
and it was very much could you please be quiet moment.
Yeah.
Like
if you want to do that, sit as far away from people as possible.
Well, we couldn't because it was a full theater, no shot. 1.2 billion as of this recording, James.
Yeah. Well, go in the daytime if you can.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's gonna do for now.
Yeah.
Just go see it.
Very much so. Yeah.
Watch Black Lightning when you're at home. Netflix it. Go to theaters to see Infinity War. Just do it.
Yeah, it's no reason if you enjoy superhero stuff. There's no reason you shouldn't see either one of these.
Yeah. Although it's funny, I was talking to my father and I was mentioning to him about. He's like, "I'm not familiar with Black Panther." He's like, "It's a Marvel movie, Dad." And he just sighs. How many do I have to see? And it was like, honestly not that many. You don't even need to really watch Civil War.
Yeah. We'll get you, it's like I'll get you the list.
Yeah.
You just mark out the ones you already seen.
There's a flowchart. I showed him the original Iron Man, and he loved, and he still remembers the scene where he tests out the boosters and just goes flying into the wall.
Oh, awesome! That's great.
Yeah, but I know it's just at this point everyone's just like 3 movies a year. But hey, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming up in July, and then we got Captain Marvel coming out on March 8th, International Women's Day, my birthday.
There you go.
They got me one of my favorite superheroines in a movie.
They got it. They're hooking you up, Peter. You just don't know it yet.
I'll take it. But I want to thank you for joining me on this Odyssey, James.
Oh, it's always been a pleasure. It really has been.
And thank you for not being too cruel about my bad blaxploitation voice.
Oh no! We gotta add some kind of hot sauce to that mayonnaise. That's all.
It ain't happening. It's you know what you can add to it? Fluffernutter. We are not endorsed in any way by Fluffernutter. It's just I needed a marshmallow. I thought it was funnier to say Fluffernutter than marshmallow.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear. But that non-product placement aside, have yourselves a good day.